Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're a business owner, payroll manager, or HR professional in the UK, you need to listen up. The next 2 years are bringing some of the most significant payroll changes we've seen in a long time. These aren't just minor tweaks, they will fundamentally alter your costs, your processes, and your employees' entitlements. So grab a coffee and let's break down everything you need to know for the 2025, 2026, and 2026-2027 tax years. We'll cover national insurance hikes, new statutory leave, and the massive shift to mandatory payrolling of benefits. Trust me, you don't want to be caught unprepared. Let's dive straight into the 2025 or 2026 tax year, which starts on April 6, 2025. The headline change, and the one that will hit most employers' budgets the hardest, is the adjustment to national insurance contributions, or NICs. This is a double whammy for employers. First, the Employer NIC rate, also known as the secondary rate, is increasing from 13.8% to 15.0%. That's a 1.2 percentage point jump. But that's only half the story. The really impactful change is to the threshold where you start paying it. The secondary threshold is being dramatically lowered from $9,100 per year all the way down to just $5,000 per year. What does this mean in practice? It means you will start paying 15% in Employer NICs on an employee's earnings once they make more than $5,000. This significantly increases your NI bill, especially for businesses that employ part-time or lower-paid workers who were previously under the $9,100 threshold. For every employee earning between $5,000 and $9,100, you're going from paying 0 Employer NICs to paying a substantial amount. It's a major cost increase you absolutely must factor into your 2025 budgets. Now, before you panic about that NIC increase, there is some good news, particularly for small and medium-sized businesses. To help offset these rising costs, the government is expanding the Employment Allowance. This is a really positive development. Currently, the maximum employment allowance you can claim to reduce your annual Employer NIC's bill is $5,000. From April 2025, this is more than doubling to a generous $2,500. This will provide a much bigger cushion for many businesses. But the even better news is the removal of the eligibility cap. Previously, if your Employer NIC's liability in the prior tax year was $100,000 or more, you couldn't claim the allowance at all. That cap is being completely removed. This means many more growing and medium-sized businesses who were previously excluded will now be able to claim this $10,500 relief. It's a critical lifeline that could completely absorb the new NIC costs for many smaller employers. Make sure you check your eligibility and are ready to claim this increased allowance. Next up for 2025 is a brand new and very important statutory entitlement for working parents. It's called Statutory Neonatal Care Pay, or SNCP. This is a compassionate and long overdue change. This new leave is for parents whose newborn baby requires at least 7 continuous days of neonatal care within the first 28 days after birth. It's designed to give parents the financial support they need to be with their child during an incredibly stressful time, without having to worry about using up other leave like maternity or paternity. Eligible parents can take up to 12 weeks of paid leave. The pay rate will be the standard statutory amount, which is expected to be around $187.18 per week, or 90% of their average weekly earnings if that's lower. This will align with the rates for other parental leave, like maternity and paternity pay. You'll need to update your HR policies and payroll systems to handle this new type of statutory pay and leave, ensuring you're ready to support any employees who may need it. It's a huge step forward in family-friendly employment rights. Alongside this new leave, we'll also see the standard annual increases to other statutory payments. This includes statutory sick pay, statutory maternity pay, paternity pay, and all the others. These rates typically increase in line with the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, from the previous September. While these are routine updates, It's crucial to ensure your payroll software is updated with the correct new rates from April 2025 to remain compliant and ensure your employees are paid correctly. And of course, it wouldn't be April without an increase to the minimum wage. From April 1st, 2025, the national living wage, which applies to workers aged 21 and over, is projected to rise from $11.44 to around $12.21 per hour. The other national minimum wage rates for younger workers will also increase proportionally. Don't forget the accommodation offset either. If you provide accommodation to an employee, the maximum amount you can deduct from their wages will also rise, likely from $9.99 to $10.66 per day. These are not just recommendations, they are legal requirements. Failing to pay the correct minimum wage can lead to significant penalties, so it's essential to get these new rates implemented on time for your first payroll in April. Finally, for 2025, a quick note on income tax. At present, the government has scheduled for the personal allowance to remain frozen at $12,570. This means that for most employees in England and Northern Ireland, their tax code will likely remain the same, such as 1257L. This fiscal drag means that as wages rise, more of an employee's income becomes taxable. It's a stealth tax, really. However, it's very important to remember that Scotland and Wales have devolved powers over income tax. They set their own tax bands and rates. So, if you have employees in Scotland or Wales, you must keep a close eye on announcements from the Scottish and Welsh governments, as their tax codes and calculations could change independently of the rest of the UK. Okay, let's shift our focus to the 2026 to 2027 tax year. The landscape here is dominated by a single massive compliance change that has been looming for years: the mandatory payrolling of benefits in kind, or BIKs. Now, there's been a recent development here. This was originally planned to start in April 2026, but HMRC has officially deferred the start date to April 2027. This one-year delay is incredibly important. Why? Because it avoids a potential double tax nightmare. Had this gone ahead in April 2026, employees would have been taxed twice in 1 year for their benefits. They'd be paying tax on their 2025 to 26 benefits through an adjustment to their 2026 to 27 tax code. That's the old P11D system. At the same time, they would also have been paying tax on their 2026-27 benefits in real time through the payroll. This would have caused huge confusion and a significant unfair cash flow hit for millions of employees. The deferral gives HMRC time to figure out how to manage this transition smoothly. So, what should you do in 2026? Don't relax. Use this extra year wisely. This change is still coming in April 2027. This is your window of opportunity to prepare. You should conduct a full audit of all the benefits you provide, from company cars and private medical insurance to gym memberships. Then, you need to ensure your payroll software can actually handle the complexity of calculating and taxing these benefits on a monthly or weekly basis. This is a fundamental shift from the annual P11D process, and it requires robust systems. Start planning now. Looking ahead to April 2026, we are also expecting major reforms to statutory sick pay, or SSP. These changes are part of a wider government review of employment rights and will have a big impact on employers. The first expected change is the removal of the 3 waiting days. Currently, an employee isn't paid SSP for the first 3 days they are off sick. The proposal is to make SSP payable from day 1 of their illness. This immediately increases the cost for employers for any short-term sickness absence. The second major change is the expected removal of the lower earnings limit. Right now, an employee must earn above a certain weekly threshold to qualify for SSP. Removing this would mean that many more low-paid and part-time workers who are currently ineligible will be entitled to sick pay. While this is a positive step for employee welfare, it significantly increases both the administrative and financial burden of SSP for all employers. You'll be processing more claims for more people from the very first day of absence. And the reforms don't stop there. We are also anticipating changes to paternity leave, expected to take effect around April 2026. The goal here is to provide more flexibility for new parents. One key change is that paternity leave is expected to become a day one right. This would remove the current requirement for an employee to have a certain length of service with the company before they can qualify for paternity leave and pay. Additionally, the rules around when and how paternity leave can be taken are likely to be relaxed. For example, fathers and partners may be able to take their leave at any point after shared parental leave has been taken, offering families more choice in how they manage childcare in that first year. These are positive, modernizing changes, but you'll need to update your family-friendly leave policies to reflect this new flexibility. And that's a wrap. We've covered a huge amount of ground today, from the immediate budget impacts of NIC changes in 2025 to the major process reforms coming in 2026 and beyond. The key takeaway is this: change is coming, and preparation is everything. Start reviewing your budgets, updating your policies, and talking to your payroll provider now. Don't leave it until the last minute. I hope you found this breakdown valuable. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more essential payroll and HR updates. We're here to help you stay compliant and ahead of the curve. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.